Welcome to another edition of What the Fuck, happening in the YouTube atheist community and Tiny Chat fun. Really isn't any of that stuff. It really isn't. So little to report. It's just the struggle against the mediocre thinking capacity of the average human organism. And, the struggle to see the truth have its day, or some kind of crap like that. These asparaguses are so interesting. Such an interesting little plant. So you have to delicately get the fence over the asparagus so they can properly go to seed without harassment from the natural bovines or whatever they're called. But they do create a nice fern-like substance. So, it's taken years, but I finally do get some asparaguses out of the asparaguses, which is nice. So, I got little asparaguses growing, so we'll see how it goes. I have to live to eat them, which, just doesn't seem like it's going to happen. I just have sort of a fatalism, like this dried up little pond. Yeah, I really do really want to keep it. I want to regain its purpose, but I really don't want to do the work and the maintenance. So we'll see. Anyway, very nice day, shaping up to be anyway, and such. So, last night, it really was adequate enough, struggled through it. Kind of the same old crap, but, you rag on a few people, you make a couple of philosophical arguments, once in a while somebody interesting pops in, says a couple of things. Trolls just keep, trolling you, which is sort of annoying, with, just asking nonsense questions and making accusations, so you just waste a lot of time answering crap you've already answered. And it just says all the failings that I complain about, and I really should do something about that. As I really do hate the redundancy of conversation, and so it is kind of annoying. So anyway, Mr. Natural showed up, and he's always an interesting sort, and we're talking physics and such, and he was talking about maybe doing some two-slit experimenting, which might be really interesting. Modifications to the experiment and such, and so that could be quite suitable to my purposes, in having conditions established to demonstrate, to create some sort of, logical proof of a sort, tangible physical proof, but just physical proofs that in essence create, logical conundrums that you can't escape. I mean, I think that already exists, and that, one of my themes on the two-slit experiment would be to de-randomize the aiming procedure, so you know exactly where the photon or electron is going to go. So you create an aiming device, and then and just perform the aiming in a perfectly random, in a perfectly natural distribution. So meeting the natural probability, but exactly what slit each photon went through, and you just do it in a linear procedure to cover the same range of area with the same basic density of population. And it creates a theoretical argument that if you get the same results, the idea of any kind of notion that photons can read minds, we're done with that. So just be interesting to see the, to have the opportunity anyway to create some sort of, like I said, it isn't definitive proof, but it creates a definitive proof in the sense that it creates a logical paradox that you can't escape. That it would make no sense if it was otherwise, kind of thing. You know, you can't logically make that coherent to the experiment's results, that kind of thing. So anyway, I know I don't want to get into all that stuff, but yeah, so that might be an interesting project. And you know, Old Fan has done some preliminary work on the Vlogger Dome, the TV show, production values, you know, like an intro and stuff, and but yeah, it's going to have those kind of creative elements, and you know, I have to do some more work. I have been kind of lazy. I have the excuse I've been waiting for another computer that I've been waiting for, you know, as my motherboard crashed, and so yeah, it's you know, I have a logistical issue, and I'm also trying to minimize how much electricity I use, so I don't want to, you know, I don't want to do things in less than optimum circumstances and all that kind of crap. But you know, that's just sort of is just an excuse, because I've also been busy with tons of other crap in, you know, this reality here where I have to do shit, and you know, the necessities of providing for your subsistence. Yeah, you know. So anyway, so distractions, yes. Life has gotten in my way. But you know, you're always thinking, and you know, so there's stuff going on. You just don't have it in a usable form yet, and so I have lots of unusable formations. I have, you know, I have lots of half creatures floating about in there, in the brain area. So that's the only other news again. So atheist community stuff, it really is very thin. Piro is basically not an atheist. He's sort of making that clear. I mean, it's all this Gaia talk, spirituality, multiverses. You know, he's just you know, forget about it. You know, he doesn't logically want to go where the facts point. He wants to pretend that he can rewrite the story, and that somehow there's legitimacy to doing that. Legitimacy. Yeah, no. Making up fables. And, you know, it's just, this is a bullshit that a lot of atheists are plagued by. You know, Thunderfoot's gotten quite, you know, so full of himself. You know, he's making 40-minute videos now debunking, you know, trivially bad science. I mean, some bad science is just obviously bad science, and, you know, debunking. You know, debunking. Now I gotta quit doing that. I'm acquiring, well, I've always had some bad habits, you know. I said you know too much, and it's all these little quirks of personality that, you know, this video thing makes you realize, and you say, oh shit, I sound like that, I do that, oh damn it. Those kind of things, just annoying. Poor old Mystic, you know, he's got a wonderful garden, you know, and does great work and all that kind of stuff, but he couldn't remember the word beet. You know, you couldn't recognize a beet, seeing a beet in the ground. And, you know, you just, that happens to you with age. You know, you do this thing, but you know, it's just kind of scary that that shit can happen to you, that you can't remember something so obvious. And you know, the frailty of the function of this mechanism is scary. The whole life thing is scary. You know, one day you're here, the next day you're not. You know, you just never know, and you know, it's no way to plan for your. I mean, you can plan for it, but then you end up creating a very inefficient life because you have to minimize everything to keep ready for the. Oh, I might die today, so I better have my life in order, and you know, that's going to be a little bit destructive to your creativity and other things. So it probably doesn't work as a plan. Buttercups back here. Yeah, I just noticed that they were growing here. Yeah, I guess you couldn't see them before when the weeds was higher. So it's kind of nice, I suppose. Don't really like yellow flowers much, but we'll see. Might grow on me. So, garden's growing. I just keep waiting on the, I don't have flowers yet. I just have plants. And so, you're always waiting to see what kind of flowers you get. So, yeah. And what else? Yeah, I guess that's it. I guess there's no point in dragging it out and being more inefficient in my presentation here. But yeah, it's just these basic subjects. We just got to go through these basic ideas of understanding what it is to be a human. And most of understanding what it is to be a human is to get rid of the puro lies and deceptions and fantasies of, some sort of good force, bad force, Jedi, whatever nonsense. And Lord of the Rings, or whatever the fantasy is. Get rid of that nonsense, fabulistic perception of reality, and recognize what it is, which is a bunch of organisms parasiting on each other for this goal of survival. And they're just feeding machines. That's all they are. They're reproducing machines, and they have to first feed to create the parts to make the copy, and that's what's going on here. That's the fundamental mechanism. There's no guidepost other than that. There's no agenda other than that. And efficiency in terms of the welfare of the sentient creatures, the harm to them, the suffering they'll endure. These are not relevant considerations in this life struggle as its fundamental nature. And, it's only through luck of circumstance, that our intelligence allows us to see the truth. To not be owned entirely by subjective mechanical impulses. It's still mechanical, your logic, don't get me wrong, but I mean they're not visceral from the body. They are gleaned from the environment, so we can look at the environment and analyze it and not just be controlled by the mechanism. But that's the only game in town here, and the only rational conclusion is to be very paused and disturbed and disquieted by the nature of this mechanism and the fact that it has no governor, it has no mechanism to control how bad things can get and how horrific for certain organisms' existences. And again, the attrition rate in nature is just obscene. Frogs, it's what, 100,000 to 1 survival rate, from pollywog to frog. I mean, just obscene, insane numbers. The disregard for the sentient welfare that is built into this fundamental mechanism. And that is the elephant in the room is a truth, and it's the thing nobody can see, elephants. Most human beings are, elephants are completely invisible to them, and, it's just such a joke. The most important thing in the universe is the truth of our dangerous existence, and people aren't seeing it. They're just trivially playing with nonsense themselves, their own silly psychological spirals and eddies, and aren't understanding where they are at all. And again, people like Piro are just so malicious to migrating the human race to a more rational perspective, because they seem desperate to find ways to invent underlying and fundamental purpose. It's just quite evil. Purpose beyond mitigating against the harm, controlling the excesses of nature, moderating against them. Mitigating against them. Moderating is the wrong word. So anyway, there's my little preachy moment for the video. What else could be said? Yeah, so otherwise, like I said, things are kind of quiet. There's not too many people talking much. I just happened to, one of old Remy's videos popped up somewhere, and I just, I hadn't heard from Remy in so long. there's just so many people on YouTube. They just, they drift away, and you just never hear from them. And it's all kind of sad and tragic in a way. But just the energy of this mechanism is just so low right now. There's just so little energy in the people making videos, and what they're saying is just so blah 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 blah, gobbledygook gobbledygook. I mean, there's just no, there's nothing to bite, to grab you, to say, gee, that's something that's a new idea, that's a good vision, that's a, So anyway, I suppose it's my job to do some of that, maybe, possibly. Anyway, see, I can't even control saying anyway. But whatever. Yeah, it really is just very nice back here. See how the mosquitoes do. They have been biting me at night, so I really want to do my little fireplace thing, but I haven't got to that. It's just really hard to, all these things on your list to do. You got to make your dinner and take a bath and do this and do that, and you got to call a couple of people and blah blah blah, and then your night's gone. So I just have to find a better schedule of some kind. Yeah, something like that anyway. So something like that. Anyway, again, it's one of the old cat graves there. There's a food dish buried under there. Barely, I don't know if you can see that. There's another one. Where the hell's the other one? Yeah, so I have a bunch of cats buried back here. Anyway. Neighbor cats. It wasn't my cats. Ugh. Cats I just ended up taking care of, having to feed and care about. In the end, to bury. So anyway, yuck. So anyway, I did that again, didn't I? Yeah. So, yeah. What else? I don't think there's anything else to report on. I'm done with the little greenhouse because it got just too hot in there. And these hibiscuses are coming up nicely. No caterpillars on them yet. All kinds of, there's all kinds of stuff growing. It just isn't doing much flowering. I only got one iris this year. Irises are a little bit particular, strange plants. Well, I got two actually, so I shouldn't complain. But these tall ones I've had for years. So I've been moving them about. They used to just grow over there, so I've been moving them to different locations to see if they would do a little better. This is sort of an interesting one, color-wise. Kind of a lilac or something. It's a nice color. I got a bunch of these old Japanese ones, but I don't know if it's going to be a very good year for them. Yeah, I don't see too many shoots. These are, the flower shoots are kind of minimal. They might be getting too shaded by these cedar trees. But anyway, who cares about this crap? Yeah. Tomato plants are doing adequately. And, I'm going to have to leave this up because, the deers just really killed my roses. So that's kind of disappointing. To wait a year or two for them to come back. So that would be it. Yeah, that's it. I already wasted another 7 or 8 minutes of nothing. So I have to do better than that. Yeah. So till the next time. But it's just lovely, quiet. It's just so nice here. Yeah, just so fortunate. I mean, unfortunately fortunate. Something like that. Just dirt. Sorry. Yeah, so I have to put I'm doing this thing. It's kind of a neat idea. I have this old copper wire, which is really great stuff. It's probably worth a fortune. Someday you have to sell it, I suppose, to survive. But And I can put netting over that. It's not too unattractive. So I like it as a solution anyway. Till next time.